Hey, my hair looks awesome. So, this is episode 7. That's not a 7, that's a T. This is episode. That's also not a 7. I don't know how to make a 7. I'm such a retard! Yeah! Wait a minute. Whoa, what's going on there? This is episode 7! Woo! Of Whagwan, and basically the topic is sex and birth and contraception and crazy stuff and birds and bees and what's going on. So yeah, basically, I was bowling this afternoon with someone that I work with, and a couple of lanes on, there's a little kid playing, and he must have been like barely able to walk. He must have been 2, maybe even 3 years old. And his dad gave him a bowling ball, and he just could not roll it for shit, because he's just so small. And it's basically, when he took in his little hand, it just dropped to the floor with the weight, and he tried to push the ball, and it rolled back into him. It's really, really funny. It just made me think, oh wow, kids, amazing. Quite like kids, not in a Jimmy Savile way. Topical. And yeah, I was driving home, and there were kids everywhere, just all over the place, like an explosion of little kids, like in Sonic when you complete a level and all the little bunnies jump all over. Just kids everywhere, and I thought, wow, kids are such a fundamental part of life. They're just so woven into the fabric of who we are. And yes, I mean, aside from the fact that without offspring, without progeny, we can't continue the race. But I mean, from like an existential point of view, from like the meaning of life, from just what you do with life is you have kids. That's what you do, man. And I'm not saying it's weird if you don't have kids, like, you know, I'm not being judgmental. I know some people can't have children. But it's such a massive part of life. Some say it's the only reason. And just made me think, hey, how would the Western world be if we didn't have contraception? Because I think of my relationships and that I've had, and obviously I've been in sexual relationships. Look at me. So yeah, I'd have kids by now, and that's pretty bloody weird. So every person that's ever engaged in sex would have kids if it wasn't for contraception. Obviously, I'm just really simplifying this. There are a lot of factors that go into pregnancy. But I suppose, okay, let's simplify things. Let's say if we lived in a world in which having sex meant pregnancy, for whatever reason, what effect would that have upon our society? I mean, it's crazy. What effect would that have on one-night stands? Obviously, people wouldn't go around having one-night stands. What effect would that have on relationships? Like, how... In the Western world, I think a lot of the time relationships exist not entirely based on sex, but I think sex is a massive part of it, and sex for pleasure. But if you take away that ability to have sex for pleasure, because it gives you a child every time, and obviously, again, I'm simplifying this, I realise that women who become pregnant can't have a child again for a period of time. I don't know a lot about it, but basically because they have kids, and it's the hormone... it's the changes and fluctuations in hormones prevent them from having more kids. But let's just say that every single time someone engaged within a sexual activity, even with a man, so every time a woman and a man engaged in sexual activity, they became pregnant, what effect would that have upon our society? What effect would that have upon our careless approach to relationships, to one-night stand, our knowledge and of our bodies, our identity? What effect would that have on employment? What effect would that have upon life pursuits and existentialism? What effect would that have upon our social stratification? What effect would that have upon gender roles? What effect would that have on a relationship as a whole? Because if you're gonna engage in sex with someone, you'd have to be sure that you want a child with them. Obviously, let's just assume that you can't have an abortion. But, yeah, what effect would that have on life? I mean, like, if you knew that every single time you slept with someone, you'd have a baby, or, like, you know, the first time you slept with someone, you'd have a baby, I'm pretty sure a lot of us would consider it before we had sex with them. I suppose, like, it brings up the the thought about Catholics, like real life Catholics, and not those fake Catholics or anything, not Catholics. But yeah, I know people who are Catholics and who don't sleep with one another till they're married and only have one partner. Um, but let's just say, what if that was our entire? Maybe I'm speaking from a Christian Western background. What if, for my world, that seems crazy. Like people only dating one another and only sleeping with one another when they want children and they want to marry and they're sure they want to be together. But just wow, it just seems like a totally crazy world. And also, what would people do in relationships? Like, if you take sex out of relationships, it's kind of just like friendship. Who wants a friendship with a girl? No. It just made me think. It's interesting. Think about it. In this world where if you have sex, you will have a kid. That's a crazy world. I'd have about 3 children by now. No, no. I'd have kids, and that's a scary fucking thing. You think back in terms of evolutionary. I'm 24. I'd probably be dead by now if I was a human living in the. I'm going to make up a period of time. The Mesopotamic period. If I was living 10,000 years ago, I'd be dead now. If I was living 1,000 years ago, I'd be dead now. If I was living like 200 years ago, I'd be dead now. I'd already have mated, probably have got married, and I'd be dead if I was a Victorian. Um, yeah, it's crazy. Look at me, I'm just some like freeloading, fucking self-indulgent, misanthropic waste of space who talks about shit like this. But I should have kids. I should totally have kids, man. And whoever invented all those birth control methods, I don't know. Thank you for my completely mindless, pointless, hedonistic expression of self. If anyone, this probably didn't make any sense, but if anyone has any ideas, then please just get in touch with me. Maybe ideas of ways I can usefully express myself and use this focus and motivation. Blah, 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 blah. Thank you. Bye.